we go and we have a bunch of grinders. You put the grams of the heroin in the grinder so it can fluff up and it expands. We mix it, we cut it with whatever we need to cut it with according to how good the heroin is when we receive it. These are the bags. Once you break it down, break the kilo down of heroin into grams, and then you put in the grinder, you get little baggies like this. This right here, this little bit of heroin is $10. They can sniff it, or they can get a lighter and melt it down, put it in a needle, and shoot in their veins.
Basically, an overdose is good for sales because the typical junkie, myself included, I can't say I'd immediately run to go buy it, but I mean, wow, it's good enough to kill somebody. Yes.
Matthew is a heroin addict. He lives in an abandoned house close to Kensington Avenue.
Just realize we've got to go around through this parking alley and then through the back.
Matthew is in poor health. He is HIV positive and has hepatitis C. He manages his health as best he can. Matthew collects old clothes and household junk from sidewalk crates and trash cans.
These were boots that somebody at some point was going to sell for a girl. I just haven't. They're really scuffed. I haven't found a girl that wants them. But I picked this up one night because it's kind of cool. It has a mirror on it, and you need a mirror often when you inject in your neck.
Philadelphia's Kensington neighborhood has been a mecca for heroin addicts from Florida to Maine for decades.
All I did was get in the stolen car and drove north. I think my intentions were to go to New York City, and I was almost out of gas, took that exit from 95, and there was nothing there that I could see anyway, and so I made a right and went down to the next train station, which is called Tioga, and I got my first bag of heroin up there. However, I got what they call stuck here in Kensington, which, looking back on it, being honest with myself, we're never stuck, but it's really, really hard to leave here.
To verify the quality of wholesale heroin, drug bosses use addicts like Matthew to test new shipments.
I have a lot of people that seek me out. I call it the Kensington Daily News. Today, it was one of the dealer's samples, meaning it's a product that, depending on his feedback from people like me or whatever, will determine whether or not he buys. We go into the trap house, which is where they would keep the works that they're not selling. There were two Spanish-speaking guys leaning up against a sink like this, and you could visibly see 4 guns. And the guy who owned the corner said, "This is how we're going to do it. Get your cookers out. I'm going to put a scoop in each of your cooker." He gave us all a cigarette. He's like, "I want you to do what you do, inject yourself, sit down, because sometimes things creep on, smoke a cigarette." And he's like, "I don't want you to talk to each other." And then on your way out of the house, they give me a number from 1 to 10. And that's how we sampled it.
By grading new heroin, Matthew puts himself at terrible risk of an overdose. For the corner dealers, the testers are expendable.
Depending on the kind of heroin it is, we put certain stamps on it. You basically, like a regular stamp, you stamp whatever name's on there and you stamp the bag. Say we get a heroin that's a grade 10, that's the best heroin you can get. We might name it Incredible, put a stamp on it that says Incredible. Other heroin we get, it might be an 8. We might put a stamp Awesome on it. I mean, that way we know where to put which heroin, and we know who's going to move the most heroin. If it's a one block and they're selling 800 bags of heroin a day, and a different block is only selling 600 bags of heroin a day, we might send the grade A to the slower block so it can pick up a little bit.
Okay, now where is 24 Frank? Which alleyway? Cross Street. Okay, behind Somerset between C and Rose Hill.
The Mexican cartels have taken over wholesale drug supply in cities like Philadelphia with business-like efficiency. But on the corner